we were not able to log in from quite a few time. We have tried a lot. So we have shifted to Zoom. And one important information I would like to give you all guys today is that we have 2 classes today. So because of these 2 classes, please remember that this Google Meet is scheduled to have 40 minutes of class. So in case that we abruptly the meeting ends, so you all are requested to kindly join using the same link. Same link will work, same use password will work. Yes, Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible. I am making you co-host, sir.
Hello, am I audible? Hello?
Yes, sir. You are audible, Asif.
Am I audible to you, students?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. My apology for the delay in the class. As you know, there is some problem in the Google Meet, so we have shifted to Zoom, right? Dear students, in the last class of operations management, Dr. Lame has briefed you about a very practical and very important area of operations manager or operations management. And that is one of the important role of operations manager, that is to predict the future requirement. Because when you plan something, you have to predict the future requirement. Imagine that you are engaging, you are organizing a particular event in the department. Now, when you organize a particular event in the department, you have to make some advanced planning. And this advanced planning is based on your calculation or estimation of the future requirement, like number of participants. Accordingly, the different types of resources that is required. Now, predicting the future requirement is very easy to say, but in practicality, it is quite difficult. Because in both the scenario, if your estimate is not right, that is either you over demand or you under demand. In both the situation, you will face a problem. So the job of operations manager is very, very challenging from the point of view of predicting the future requirement. That is why forecast, this term of predicting the future requirement in operations management, we call it as forecasting. Forecasting is an interdisciplinary area, and you have studied this concept of forecasting in your paper of accounting also. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the term which we are going to cover with you is forecasting. And what I'm saying is that this is not a new term for you. Forecasting is a multidisciplinary area, right? And it has broad application. You can learn the concept of forecasting in economics. You can learn the concept of forecasting in financial management. And you can now learning the concept of forecasting in operations. But as far as the technical side of forecasting is concerned, it is aptly and appropriately placed in the area of operations management. Reason is that it needs some mathematical and statistical and scientific and rational thoughts. So due to this reason, this has been assumed that operations manager will be in a better position to forecast the requirement. With this starting note, I would like to share my presentation with all of you to make you understand much better what I'm going to start. So I'm sharing my screen. Is this slide visible to you?
Yes, sir.
So broadly speaking, which Dr. Lame has already briefed you, when we talk about different methods of forecasting, like how do you predict the future? And one of the biggest challenge of predicting the future is accuracy. आप कितना accurate अपना future
Excuse me, sir. You are not audible. requirement
Sir, we are not getting your voice.
Okay, I'm just joining. There's some problem, here in the department as far as internet connectivity is concerned. Is this?
Yes, sir, now it's audible.
Okay. What I'm telling you that forecasting, the accuracy of forecasting is based on the method that you adopt. Because how accurate you are in predicting the future requirement, that is more important. Imagine that we are organizing a particular event in the department and I'm estimating the requirement. So I'm arranging number of seats. So if my prediction, if my calculation of future requirement of number of seats is accurate, that means that my method is right. And if there is any problem, if my estimate is wrong, that means the method which I have adopted for forecasting the requirement is not appropriate. Due to this reason, selection of the right method or the right approach of forecasting is very important. And broadly speaking, forecasting methods are classified in two broad categories: qualitative method and quantitative method. Now, the name itself gives you an idea. The method of forecasting, which we call it as qualitative, is based on the approach which is less dependent on number. I'm repeating my word. By qualitative, we mean to say that we are talking about that approach where the dependency is less on numbers rather than it is based on your experience. It is based on your the thoughts and number of opinions. That approach we call it as the qualitative approach. Whereas in contrast to qualitative approach, we have a separate set of approaches which we call it as quantitative approaches. These approaches are those approaches whereby our calculation is based on numbers. Our calculation is based on past data, and we apply specific mathematical and scientific methods and formulas to predict the future. So if you apply any mathematical formula or approach or theorem or theory, then that makes it quantitative method. Whereas qualitative is primarily based on your experience, intuition, and your broad opinions. Quickly, when we talk about When we talk about the qualitative method, there are various methods which are qualitative in nature. Dr. Lame has already briefed you about this qualitative method. Very common approach. We estimate the requirement by taking the opinion of the employees. And these employees are the executive level employees of the company. Another method which is very popular in operations management, Delphi method. Delphi is again, we are taking the expert opinion, and these experts are the panel of experts. And they are, this method is applied in a very scientific manner. So this approach is, we call it as Delphi method, which we have already discussed in the previous class. Then we have Salesforce composite method and market survey method. So I'm not taking this method once again because Dr. Lame has already covered this in the last class. My focus today is this, that I would like to tell you about the quantitative approaches of forecast. Again, I'm repeating the term quantitative. You may please note it down somewhere. We call it as quantitative because here the requirement is, the input is that we want structured data, right? We want specific numeric data. And these numeric data is placed in mathematical formulas to get the answer. You have studied different types of method in quantitative techniques. All these methods are applicable here, whereby the approaches are, that is why it is termed as quantitative. There is a whole list of quantitative approaches, starting from naive approach, then we have moving average, then we have exponential smoothing, we have trend projection, and last but not the least, we have linear regression. Now, if you see this slide, I hope it is visible to all of you. Are you able to see the slide of quantitative approaches?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You see that these 5 methods are again broadly classified into 2, time series and associative. So this term time series is very, very important for us. That starting from method number 1 to method number 4, these methods are termed as time series method. Now, what is this time series, by the way? Anybody out of you who have ever heard about this word time series? क्या होता है time series? क्यों हम इसे time series कहते हैं? Anybody? What is time series? Yes, anybody out of you? Why do we call this as time series? What is time series?
Sir, recording of data at a different interval of times.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. If you see the word time series, now here time series stands for that when you collect data at different period of time. Like for example, I would like to collect the data from 2010 to 2020. Collect the data at a regular interval from 2010 to 2020, like for example, every year, every 6 months, or every month of the year. Now, when we collect the data on a regular period of time, and if we represent them in the data file, you know, the Excel file, for example, that data will become the time series data. And the best way to identify the time series data is that number 1, it is based on time period, and number 2, this is a historical data. इसकी पहचान ये होती है कि अगर आप कोई डेटा फाइल खोलते हैं और आप देखते हैं कि ये डेटा अरेंज है इन अ स्पेसिफिक टाइम पीरियड लाइक मंथली और क्वार्टरली और 6 मंथली और ईयरली, एंड दिस डेटा इज अ हिस्टोरिकल डेटा. जैसे हम आज 21 में हैं और ये डेटा है 2019 का, 18 का और 2010 तक का. सो इफ सम डेटा इज फ्रॉम 2010 to 2020, then in that the situation is that this is the time series data. तो आप देखते ही बता सकते हैं कि ये time series data. You can identify that this is the time series data. So quantitative approach of forecasting with this discussion is based on historical data. Quantitative approach जो हम आपको बताने जा रहे हैं, ये सारी वो approaches हैं जिसमें हिस्टोरिकल डेटा की रिक्वायरमेंट होती है. that needs the past data. That needs the past data. In that series, the first method is we call it as naive method. The first method is naive method. Now, what is this naive method? The simplest among all is naive. Now, I don't want to show you any formula. I don't want to show you any theory of naive. First and the foremost thing is the concept. What is this concept of naive approach? The concept of naive approach is that if you want to predict the future requirement, then the prediction for the future requirement is that it would be the value of the previous past period. Previous past. Now, what does this mean? Like I am talking about the month of July right now. And imagine that I am estimating the future requirement of the month of August. So, अगर मैं कोई estimation कर रहा हूँ for the month of August, then according to naive method, the requirement for the August is the immediate past. That is immediate past period, the immediate past month. So August, the immediate past period is what? July. July, the immediate past period is June. June, the immediate past period is May, and so on. So according to the naive method, the best estimate is that you would estimate the requirement of the future period vis-a-vis that you take it the previous past, the recent past, and the recent past, the previous past, the last period is the consecutive month or the year or whatever it is. This is the theory of naive period. Right. This slide, if you see that if you are estimating, this is an example of the mobile phone, for example, they have taken, and you are estimating the sale, right? In the month of January, the sale was 68. Then in the month of February, we will expect this 68 as an expected, the predicted value of the mobile handsets. So forecast for the next month, that is forecast for the August, is the actual value of the past period. This method is the simplest and the easiest method. Number one point is that it is very easy to explain and it does not require any mathematical calculation. So for the companies, for the corporate, this is very cost effective and at times it's very efficient also. So this is one approach of naive method. This is one, the important part of naive method. Now, when you talk about the next method, if you see this one, after naive, we have another method we call the moving average method. Now, you can yourself understand that when we see the term moving average, so here the word is average. So it will take the average of some period. Average means mean value. So you take the mean, you take the average of the past period. What is that past period? How many periods are there? Is it 2 period? Is it 3 period? Is it 5 period? How many periods? So I would like to show you one table with the help of which you will understand. See this table. I will just make it full screen to make you understand it better. Is this slide visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
You see this table. I'm explaining you the method of forecasting. If you got a moving average method, see the data which is given from January to December, the actual value is given. Okay. Now, what we are doing, imagine that I would like to forecast for the month of April. So I'm following this data. So the forecast for the month of April by using moving average is the average of the previous 3 periods. So average of the previous 3 period means the value of January plus the value of February plus the value of March and divided by 3. So this method is known as moving average, and because we are taking the average of previous 3 period, so this is also known as 3-point moving average. So आप कहीं पे note कर लीजिए, this method is known as 3-point moving average. Why this is 3 point? Because we are taking the mean value of the previous 3 period. Right? I would like to calculate the consequently for May and for the remaining period. See, for the month of May, the average would be for the month of April plus March plus February. For the month of June, we have the value of May with the April with a V to the March. So likewise, you can calculate the forecasted value for each month by following 3-point moving average. By following 3-point moving average. This is moving average is not limited to 3-point. It could be 4-point also, it could be 5-point also, or it could be 6-point also. So depending upon the requirement and depending upon the accuracy, we can adopt any point average method. It would be 3-point, it would be 6-point also. So if we are taking the 6-point moving average, what do you mean by that? अगर मैं 6-point moving average लगा रहा हूं, तो what does this mean? Yes.
We will calculate the average of previous 6 months.
Previous 6 months. So if I am estimating the requirement of July, for example, July in that case, so the forecasted value for the month of July will be the average of January to June. So January plus February plus March plus April plus May plus June. You take the average, you take the values and divide it by 6. This will become 6-point moving average. So again, if you compare with the naive method, this approach is slightly better. Why this approach is slightly better? Because it takes at least 3-4 period and it takes the average value. Whereas naive method take only the previous past. So in comparison to naive, this is slightly better, and this is slightly better.
So could you please repeat the game that you have taught us? What was the word 6-point? So could you please repeat that?
I'm sorry, I'm not able to hear you properly. What is your question?
Sir, I'm saying you said 6-point something. So could you please explain it again?
I'm saying okay. I'm saying this method, we are taking the average of 3 period. Okay, this is 3-point. If I'm taking the average of 4 period, this will become 4-point. If I'm taking the average of 6 period, that will become 6-point moving average. So as many number of period you take to take the average, you will accordingly name the method. अगर आप 3 period ले रहे हैं, so you will call it as 3-point average. If you are taking 6 period, you call it as 6-point moving average. Why I am telling you? Because in literature and in questions also, you will find that the estimator or the forecaster has taken either the 3-point moving average or they may take 6-point moving average depending upon the requirement. Right? Clear?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, please.
So is there a concept of outlier in this also? If any value is like, sir, outlier, the concept of outlier, do we consider that those values which are extreme high or low?
In this case, the questions of all this high, low, and outlier, do not come into picture. Reason is that this is simple method. We are taking only. I will come to this. The concept of outlier in the coming methods. That is what these methods appears to be very simple.
Okay.
But there are a lot of question mark about their accuracy. अब आप खुद देख सकते हैं. I'm talking about naive method. I'm talking about moving average 3-point or 6-point. There are doubts. There are question mark about the accuracy. And in order to overcome this accuracy, definitely we have some other advanced method. Now, anybody out of you tell me, what do you think is a major, I would say, problem with moving average method? क्या major problem है moving average method के साथ? What do you think? That there is some doubt about the accuracy. Anybody out of you?
Sir, कोई
If the
central
product is
value
in growth
नहीं
stage
है.
or the
One by one. कोई स्टैंडर्ड वैल्यू नहीं है. ओके.
ये सब मतलब कोई सेंटर्ड वैल्यू नहीं है, मतलब किसी सेंटर वैल्यू के अराउंड वैल्यूज नहीं आ रही.
स्टैंडर्ड वैल्यू के अराउंड नहीं आ रही.
if the product is in a growth stage or a stage, then
Sir,
this will be highly incorrect.
some sales depend upon seasonal basis, so it can change.
Yeah, the point is that because of some changes, seasonal changes, or some fluctuation in the value, how can you say that your future requirement will remain as it is to your past? They may be changed also, right? So true, very true. So how do we overcome with this problem? Like if I am estimating the requirement of April according to the problem which is there in front of your eyes, I am estimating the requirement of the month of April. I am taking the value of January. So from January to April, the situation will get changed. Then I am estimating the requirement of the month of April and I am taking the value of February. Again, there is a difference. And the same difference is 13. And what we noticed and what we observe, the difference is more large if the period is, the period of taking the average is slightly, long. That is, for the April, the value of January is not very appropriate. For the month of April, the March will be a closer estimate. बजाय ये कि हम जनवरी की वैल्यू लें, March will be a better estimate. February will be a better estimate than January. So in order to overcome with this problem, the expert has come up with another important method which overcomes some of the limitation of moving average. जो moving average method की कुछ कमियों को दूर कर सकता है. जैसा कि मैंने अभी आपको बताया कि I am estimating the month of April and I am taking a far value of January. Maybe from January, it would be much better for me. I will take the value of February, or it would be far better if I take the value of March. But because this is an average, I have to take all the three periods. तो मैं ऐसा क्या करूं कि मैं तीनों periods को लूं, लेकिन इसके बाद भी I will improve my accuracy. So what would you suggest? What shall I do? I will have to take all the
previous month.
I will. What shall I do?
And more weight, like share to the previous month.
Assign weight.
Right. The point is this, that I know that when I am estimating the requirement of April, in terms of importance, March is more important than February. February is more important than January. And January, all in all, they have its own. So the point is that I cannot treat the value of January, February and March at par. मैं ये नहीं कह सकता कि जो वैल्यू जनवरी की है वो लगभग फरवरी की भी वही होगी और मार्च की भी वही होगी. No, I have to change my priority. So in mathematical calculation, the priorities are set by assigning weights, weightage. जैसे you assign the weightage. Now if I ask this question to you, that we have to assign weightage for estimating the requirement of April, it's quite natural that when I am estimating the month of April, the weightage for March is the highest, then February will be slightly lower than the March, and the weightage for the January is the least. So सबसे ज्यादा weightage मैं अगर किसी को assign करूंगा तो वो March को करूंगा, उसके बाद February को करूंगा और उसके बाद January को करूंगा. So the moment you associate a weightage, that will become the weighted moving average method. That is why we have this method. We call it as weighted moving average method.
Sir,
Yes, please.
I would like to update students that the meeting may end abruptly. So you may use the same link and same user ID and password to join the meeting again. In case the meeting ends abruptly, you are requested to kindly join in again.
by using the same link.
The same link will be used. Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, Dr. Lame, thank you. Thank you. So, dear students, so once again, just to revise what I have discussed up till now, today the agenda is that I am briefing you about quantitative approaches. Quantitative approaches, as the name itself gives you an idea, is that method of forecasting which is based on quantitative analysis. Numbers are required and numbers are placed in mathematical formulas to estimate the future requirement, to forecast, right? Here, the role of experience and intuition and judgment is very minimum. So it's at a minimum level. Here, the calculation estimation is based on mathematical formula. That is why this is quantitative. Broadly speaking, quantitative methods are divided in two parts: time series and associative. Right now, I am taking time series methods. What are time series methods? Time series are those methods in which the historical data, the past data is required to estimate the future. अगर मुझे आगे का estimate करना है, तो मुझे past data की requirement है. And past data is arranged in a specific time interval, year-wise or month-wise or quarter-wise or 6 monthly. So this type of data is time series data, right? Under this time series methods, the method is the future requirement is the immediate past one. If you want to estimate the requirement of period, the immediate past of that period is the best approximation. So if I'm estimating for the month of August, July would be the right appropriate value for me. If I'm estimating for the month of September, August will be the appropriate. So this approach is naive approach, but because of its limitation, we move to moving average method. The name itself gives you an idea. Here, the forecasted value, the estimate of the future requirement is based on taking the mean value. Mean value of what? Mean value of a specific period. अब वो 3 पीरियड हो सकते हैं तो 3 पॉइंट मूविंग एवरेज, अब वो 6 पीरियड हो सकते हैं तो 6 पॉइंट मूविंग एवरेज. But again, as we all know, that we cannot treat each period equally. As it gets older, the value of its get declined. You know this thing, right? So definitely we have to assign some weightage, and assigning weightage leads to a new method which we call as weighted moving average method. The mathematical, this is nothing but that you attach. The only thing is that the change in the formula, weightage is included, and weightage is multiplied with the period. That is, weightage of each period is multiplied with the value of that period, and whole divided by a denominator which is sum of the weightages. So it is again a numerator and denominator. In the numerator, we have the product of the weightage vis-a-vis to the period value, and whole divided by the sum of the weights. You will understand this better when we take the numerical problem. This is one problem which I would like to share, the same period problem which we have solved by moving average. Is this slide visible? Is this slide visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. See, we have applied certain weightages. What are the weightages? 3, 2, and 1. We have assigned weightages as weights as 3, 2, and 1. Highest weight is 3 and the lowest weight is 1. Highest weight is 3, which is assigned to, अब आप खुद बताइए, which is assigned to January, February or March? March. 3 is assigned to the March because the previous period is the most important for us. Then comparative to the March, we have a slightly lesser weight, that is 2, and this weight 2 is assigned to the month of February. And last but not the least, the smallest or the lowest weight 1 is assigned to the farthest period, that is January. So January will take the value of 1, February will take the value of 2, and March will take the value of 3. ये तो weightages हो गए. And what do we do with this period, with these weightages? We multiply these weightages with its corresponding value. So 3 multiplied with 13, 2 multiplied with 12, 1 multiplied with 10, and whole divided by the sum of the weight. Sum of the weight plus 2 plus 1, 6. So will you please tell me the answer for this? Will you please tell me the answer to this?
12.1.
12.1. You adopted the same method, you approached the same value. 3 multiplied by 30, 2 multiplied by 12, and 1 multiplied by 10, and whole divided by 6. Please calculate. All of you please calculate and tell me the value of weighted moving average method. The forecasted value.
It's 12.
Same, 12. Is this the value
Yes,
that you're
sir.
getting? Okay. And if we talk about the remaining values, the weighted value, the weighted moving average for the remaining month is this. Are you getting the point? So compare this forecasted value with moving average method. So in moving at 3-point moving average, the estimated value for the month of April is how much? If you multiply it with, how much is the value in decimal form? Yes?
11.6.
11.6. So for according to moving average method, the estimate for the month of April is 11.6. Whereas in weighted moving average method, अगर यही आप weighted moving average से calculate कर रहे हैं, so you are getting how much?
12.17.
12. 12.17. 12.17. So you will see the difference in the value. आप देख रहे हैं कि same period है April और same historical data है, लेकिन you are getting different values. For naive method, अगर आप naive method apply करते हैं, so the value for the forecast is 13. अगर आप 3-point moving average use करते हैं, the value is 11.6. अगर आप weighted moving average use करते हैं, so value is coming out to be 12.7. So there is a difference in 13, there is a difference in 11.6, and there is a difference in 12.7. 3 different values using three different methods. So this is a challenge